Julie, your question next. You're still here. Great. Julie's question, when timing the various activities, plank, half push-up, squat, I wasn't sure how long to aim for. Also, I wasn't sure about the difference between a set and repetitions. So I aimed for 12 repetitions of the activity, and I thought I might increase that another time. Really good question. So I'll just bring you back over here. And Julie, you can turn your microphone on if you'd like to. Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Good question. Do you have weights, Julia? Are you just using
no.
So it's a body weight exercise?
Yeah.
If it's a body weight exercise, then you don't really need to do multiple sets. By the way, part of your question was sets and reps.
Yes.
The definition of those two things, a repetition is one push-up, and a set is 12 repetitions of that particular push-up. And then you rest, then you come back and you do the same exercise for another group of repetitions. That's usually when you're training with weights, though. When you're training with a system where you can increase the weight for each successive set. Now, with body weight, and this is one of the limitations of body weight, this is why I suppose I'm trying to push people towards getting some kind of access to equipment. If you're using body weight, there's really little point in repeating the set. If you can get up to 12 repetitions, I would actually just keep going. So maybe do on one day, because remember, you're resting each successive day if you're training the same muscle group. I think that was somebody else's question as well. So strength training, let's go back to basics. Strength training is gradually increasing the resistance or load you place on a muscle so that it slowly gets stronger over time. It's different to yoga or stretching. It's different to cardio. That's another question flip that we can have a look at as well. Strength training requires a period of rest. Basically, you train a muscle, which in essence means you're kind of breaking down muscle fibers. You rest that muscle, you feed it, particularly with protein, it repairs, and then the next time you come back, theoretically, it's a little bit stronger. So you place an additional load on it each time. Now, if you have a set of weights or resistance, then you can do that easily. You can use 5 kilograms one time, 10 kilograms the next time, etc. Body weight, you can't really do that. And that's the limitation of body weight. But at least for now, in the exercises you're doing, what you could do is just do that plank for time or push-ups for repetitions every second day. And each time, see if you can either hold it for longer or increase the repetitions. Now, once you got to something like 50, 70, 100 repetitions of that press up, I would say you'd have to start thinking about doing something different. Like you'd have to start thinking, this is what I mean by a limitation. Once you can do 100 press ups, it's actually not really appreciably affecting strength. This is the thing that will tie into your question about swimming as well, Elizabeth. Once you can do something that number of times, you're turning the reaction in the muscle into something different, and it's becoming more about endurance. So rather than making those muscles stronger, you're simply teaching the body to do 100 press-ups, if you see what I mean. So for now, to answer the question, I would just do one set, if it's press-ups, of as many repetitions as you can every second day, and let's just see the progress from when you started doing that to the end. And it might, can I ask how many repetitions you do at the moment?
Well, with the half push-up,
yes,
I was trying to do, obviously when I look at you doing it, it's very smooth, you do up and down, very smooth. When I try to do the push-up, it's very clumsy because it's probably, I'm not used to doing it, and the muscles trying to get up and down, it's quite difficult, or a bit clumsy, and I think I can do it, but it's probably, am I doing the right thing? That's what I was thinking to myself, is this the right thing to do?
yes.
How many should I do? Should I be doing less than that and building up?
That's
it feels more like smooth and more like comfortable rather than like clumsy, like up and down.
Yeah, no, that's a good question as well. It's the technique. That's the most important thing. That overrides any other consideration. You always, I'm not even sure if I've talked too much about this before, so it's a really good question. The most important thing when you're training with weights, any exercise really, is good form. So let's say your form started to twist or shake, or it's not working as well. That takes away from the strengthening progress and takes you into the realm of injury. You just don't want that. So the most important thing is you do as many repetitions as you can with good form. You're doing the right thing by doing a half press up. And if you're doing a half press up, which is either on the knees or just going halfway down, you do as many as you can, thinking it's as smooth as you can make it until you can't do any more that smoothly. By the way, I've been doing this for a long, long time. That's why it looks smooth. I've been doing this since I knew Peter at school, which is a long time ago. So yeah, form's the most important thing. Do as many as you can with good form. And I would work at going lower and lower rather than increasing the repetitions. That's a good point as well. We aim for a certain number of repetitions when strength training. If you were training to be a weightlifter, you would be doing a small number of repetitions, trying to get the body strong enough to simply lift a weight over your head once. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to get the muscles stronger. So we aim for a number of repetitions, which is somewhere between 8 and 15. So 12 is quite arbitrary, but 12 is a good number. So what I would do is do your half press up, slowly go lower and lower within that 12 repetitions. When you can go low enough in your half press up, lift the knees, try that, and you'll probably only get 1 or 2, and keep practicing that until you can do 12 full repetitions. So 12 is your guideline, and you just keep building up to that with each variation. And then, like I say, if you can do 12 really good press-ups, full press-ups, start to add the repetitions. And when it starts to get many, many repetitions, then you start having to think about, well, how do I take this further? But I don't think that's an issue at the moment. I think there's plenty to work within, good form being the most important thing.
Yes.
Does that help? Does that answer the question?
Yes, yeah. And with the plank,
Yes.
the first time I thought I wasn't sure what to aim for, and I thought I'd try for a minute. But I mean, I could do it, and then I thought I'd try. Maybe it was too much, and then I did 45 seconds the next time. I wasn't quite sure, because obviously you can feel you're doing something to your body, and you feel like you're strengthening it, or you're doing some activity.
Can I ask, Julie, is that in the same session or on successive sessions? Subsequent?
I think the first time I did the plank was on day 2.
Right.
And then I did it on day 4 and day 6.
Okay, so
I just did 45 seconds, and I'm thinking, is that enough? I wasn't sure. Is that right? Or
that's a good range. But you've now moved on to press-ups, right?
Well, I've just been following, like, the day 2 I did the plank.
Yeah.
Then day 4 I did the plank and the half push-up.
Right.
And then on day 6 I did, the same, the plank, the half push-up, and the squats. I've just been going through the program.
That's great. That's fantastic. I'm not sure if I made it clear, really. I think it's a progression. So the plank is the first stage, the press up is the next stage, half and then full, and then possibly down the line, a bench press with weights of some kind, either hand weights. You can buy very small weights, even if you weren't going down the route of this is for everybody. Even if you didn't buy adjustable dumbbells, you could buy 1 or 2 small hand weights, like a 2 kilogram set, 4 kilogram set, things like that. But I don't think you need to do the plank once you started doing the press ups. They're essentially the same shape. They're working the same muscles. Now, somebody might turn around and say, well, isn't a plank more of a core exercise? If you think about it, the press up, you're engaged in the same muscles. So the core is required for the press up. In a plank, once you can hold it for long enough, you've conditioned those core muscles to hold you in it, then start moving the arms, turn it into something bigger. So I think if you can hold a plank for a minute, like you mentioned, and you've now moved on to doing press-ups as well, I don't think you need to do the plank.
The squat, the squat. So
yeah.
Obviously I did the squat for 4 minutes, because we do that in the yin yoga. And then yesterday I did the other squat with the resistance.
Yes.
Do I need to just do the squat with the resistance, then not do the squat and hold?
No, that's a good question as well. They're different things. See, we did a squat that is simply holding it as a stretch. And then what we did yesterday was a resistance, a strengthening exercise where we turn it into something where we can add weight or we can do repetitions. Either of those things are a way of increasing the resistance on the muscle. If you do repetitions, you probably notice by 10 or 12, your thighs are beginning to ache, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
That means you're working the muscles in a strengthening way. When you are holding a stretch, that is simply stretching the muscles. That's really good for them because it'll help your resistance squat. And I would say stretching you can do every day. You can do as often as you like, to be honest. Resistance, you can't. Resistance, because that muscle ached while you're doing the squat, you need to rest it. And you need to rest it at least 24, 48 hours before you do it again. So you can do both in this instance. The plank and the press up are different. They're essentially both resistance or strengthening exercises. But the squat where you're just sitting down and holding it, that's a stretch. Whereas the squat where you're doing repetitions is a strengthener. So the strengthening squat, the repetitions or weight, I do every second day, and maybe the plank or the press up every day in between. And that's a perfect way of training the body. Half the body one day, half the other. So it's getting a rest for those muscles on one day, and then you come back to them the day after, if you see what I mean. Mm-hmm. But you can do that squat stretch as often as you like. If you've done a squat and your thighs are aching a little bit, you might not want to do it, in which case that's fine. Or you might want to do it for that reason, because sometimes stretching can actually ease the ache that you feel from resistance training. Does that help?
Yes, it does. It's very helpful. Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, so like I say, if you have any other questions, please do. If you can turn your, actually I can meet you, Julie, I'll just turn your microphone off. We'll go on to the next question.